Namaste, Angel. This is a client reading for a male client, divine masculine. Somebody for whom I've read for before, but it has been some time. And we are going to get right started. So, by recollection, he is a Virgo, and that may be why actually both of the cards, decks of cards, or batches of cards that I've shuffled. I'm beginning with an energy of Pentacles. This one is showing that somebody is holding on. You see this guy, he looks very miserly. He's holding on very tightly to something, if not miserly, cheap, maybe he's holding on very tightly to his Pentacles. And it's an indication that somebody's holding on very tightly to something. It's often some sort of like emotion, and more often than not, when it is emotion, negative emotion, as opposed to, something positive, right? We're meant to hold on to positive stuff, and it doesn't make us look like this. So the indication is it's something that of which he needs to, loosen his grip or let go of. So it could be a negative emotion. When I say that, I mean things like regret, resentment, blame, guilt, the inability to forgive, or maybe the need to apologize, or something like that. And it could be relationships, or like the ghost of a relationship. And sometimes like relationships come back together, but it's not in our time, it's in divine time. So we think that if it hasn't happened in the time that we've allowed for it, that it's not going to, or that it is going to later. And so we have to like hold on tight and wait for that moment, as opposed to continuing to live life in between. So all those things that could be of what he's holding on to. And then right behind it, we do have a Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups for me is often about an ex returning, or something, but even if it's not that, it's a cup of emotion. So if that's onto what he's holding, this cup, and only wanting to give it maybe to one type of relationship or one specific person or something, then the indication would be that there's a need to loosen up the grip on the cup and be open to giving it to someone else, maybe, and having a new start. And or like I said, sometimes the Knight of Cups in itself is about somebody that's returning to your life, and so there could be a new beginning there. But you see this Ace of Pentacles is in reverse, so it's not necessarily happening tomorrow. There could be some delay or time there too. It's divine time. This is even like a hand of God that's coming out, from the sky to hand over the pentacles. So it's going to be when the universe says it's time. In the meantime, you may feel sort of stuck in a situation, again, because holding on too tight to perhaps in the energy of it, whatever the situation is. So we'll do a little more shuffling. So now we have the Page of Cups there. So there is like a desire, it seems, to want to make an offer, or for somebody to come toward us with an offer. This is a card representative of Earth energy too. It's the Hierophant, which is about tradition and perhaps relationship and contracts and things. Represents the sign of Taurus most directly. This is often about relationships. It's a 2. 2s are, usually when they show up, they have something to do with partnership, or and or relationship. Could be potentially romantic. Now we have the Moon. There's a Moon here too. Right behind this 6 of Pentacles that I picked up is the Moon. Moon represents the sign of Pisces. That could be what the water energy is about. We've seen the Page of Cups. The Knight of Cups could possibly be connected to an actual Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, or someone like into those traits or attributes. Or maybe the Pisces time frame, which would be beginning February 19th. So not that far off. Something could be going on with Pisces, or in connection to a moon event. So like the next full moon, which would be the end of this month. Is it? Might be the 28th. The Leo full moon, I think. So now we come to an overall energy of the 4 of of Cups. We started with the Four of Pentacles. Now we have the Four of Cups in reverse. So this is, an indication of it being time, and possibly you even already being ready to sort of, get up and try again, to not just sit around holding on to the cup, and waiting, or holding on to a pentacle and waiting and waiting and waiting while nothing's happening, because we're not moving, we're stagnant, but saying, okay, I'm ready to get up and like do my part and not miss out on any more opportunities that are potentially coming my way. But we do have feelings behind that, of perhaps like betrayal, disloyalty, hurt, separation, that probably caused the first feeling, in the first place. And again, had something to do with partnership. So, maybe still mourning a partnership, and that could be what we're holding on to. This sort of feeling of having been happy, and wanting that person to return and not wanting to let go of the possibility of them returning. And so we're holding on very tight, and we're sort of not moving in our lives. And we could be like that not moving could be what's blocking them from returning. There could be some things that we're supposed to be moving through, so that the right time can happen, that destiny moment can occur, and then they do return to our lives. But as long as we're just sitting around and not doing our part, it's not going to happen. All right, so let's take a closer look at specific parts of your life. Okay, let's pull one card, most directly representing you, and it is the Seven of Swords in reverse. Surrounding energy, the Strength card, also in reverse. Work and finance, the Eight of Cups, upright. Could be leaving a job or something. And love and relationship, Page of Swords, upright. Okay, not bad. So going back first to the Four of Cups in reverse, it's just really saying that this is a time to just get moving. So if you spend time stagnant, maybe wallowing in self pity, oh woe is me, or why isn't this working out for me, and worked out for so and so, but mine didn't go well. Whatever. It's like, however you've said it, the point of the card is that it's time. This is not the time to be like pitting yourself or giving into like, if only this had happened or had gone this way or that way, I wouldn't be here. It's telling you to start where you are and get up and go, and know that no matter what, this is happening, and no matter what's happening, also, it's happening so that you can make a difference, and and change what's not working in your own life. It also guides us to count our blessings, and so and is again, as I mentioned, about not missing any more potential opportunities that are coming our way. Like maybe while we were sitting down feeling sorry for ourselves, they passed us by. So we're not going to allow that to happen anymore. And then we segue right into the Seven of Swords in reverse, because that card can be about it being a time to think very carefully about the way things are supposed to be done. And then asking ourselves whether or not we're meeting that standard. And then if we, need to make changes, that's the next step. If we decide, hey, it's time for me to, get myself together, clean up my act, then it's time for you to do that. And then it'll be, the next step will be about thinking, about ways and you can make that happen, and changes you may need to make, adjustments you may need to make, which can be why the Hierophant showed up. That card, a lot of the time for me, is about adjustments that we need to make to the people, places, and things in our life with which we surround ourselves, because we have grown spiritually. We have started to decide to clean up our act and make changes, and to improve. And so as we do that, we outgrow those people, places, and things that we had around us. Our vibration increases, and maybe theirs stays the same or doesn't go in the same direction, and so we need to make adjustments. So that's what this card is about. This is you deciding it's time, and the universe telling you it's time, you agreeing, and then this is you figuring out exactly what steps to take in order to make it happen. It's like you already know in your gut where the most important changes need to be made, and so this is you sort of like making a plan in your head, or maybe actually putting it on paper, and then getting there and doing the stuff. So the Strength card show in reverse shows up as an indicator that we have a lot really a lot around us to be thankful for, to be grateful for, and we should be making a point of counting our blessings. You know, same thing that was one of the things this warns about and this warns about. So that's going to be like the overall or overlying message or theme for you is just really being appreciative of what you have, you know, what's been coming your way, what has been going right, and not so much focusing on what didn't, or what you feel didn't. Sometimes things that we think it didn't work out right, it worked out just exactly as the universe wanted it to, as God wanted it to, so that something else could happen maybe in the future. You know, each person we meet, each thing that occurs is, you know, tied to some other event, you know, in space and time. If this didn't happen, this wouldn't happen. Like people say, oh, I wish I'd never met you, you know. Well, then if you hadn't met me, then we'd unravel so many other things that you're not even thinking about that are attached to the meeting. So it, you know, just about everything being necessary and everyone being necessary, every person we encounter having a purpose in our life, you know, even if we don't notice it. So just about being thankful of all that we have, and the strength and the power to face challenges and stuff that we have, you know, that's available, and that we sometimes take for granted and we don't always use to the fullest extent. This card is significant of a Leo energy. As I mentioned, I said something could be going on, you know, around the time of maybe the next full moon for you, and that is, as I started to mention, the Leo full moon. As I think I said, I believe it's on the 28th of January, off the top of my head. So that could be a significant time for you. And I'm just noticing that there's the man in the moon, and there's a full moon. There's kind of like a full moon and a crescent moon, you know, and a new moon in this picture, which is interesting. Or maybe an eclipse. Maybe that's the moon covering the sun. But I see like the man in the moon. I see a crescent moon. I see a full moon. I see a bunch of stuff there. You can let me know what you see. In any case, I guess we can move on to that work and finance card. I would just also point out that these are both eights. This is Major Arcana card 8, and this is, of course, the 8 of Cups. Eights are about like karma, so destiny, and things that just have to happen. And again, what you have already in hand is key to opening yourself up to more. So that's another one of the reasons why we would just want to appreciate it all, because we are in this space of, again, maybe karma unfolding and completing, so that we can enter the next phase. So the 8 of Cups, it may be time for you to enter the next phase in terms of your work and finance. Your current job may no longer be appropriate for you for whatever reason, like you're feeling bored or underappreciated, or you've outgrown it. This could be one of the places you feel like you have outgrown, whether that's spiritually, you know, emotionally, physically, combinations of those, all the above. Of course, this is not something to rush into. You should think long and hard about what's best for yourself, and whether that's trying to fix things where you are and make it more appropriate, or moving on, or getting a new job, or starting your own business. There's a lot of things to think through, and no matter what, it's not going to change for the better or change period on its own. So it all ties into these other cards where you already are acknowledging this. It's time for something to give, for something to change, and probably for you to take some sort of action. In terms of finances specifically, it's like if you're unhappy, and this card can go beyond unhappy. It could be like miserable, even possibly in your current line of work. Um, it warns against, don't let like the security of a paycheck keep you stuck in the same job. And I didn't mention this in the beginning, but we started with the Four of Pentacles. And the Four of Pentacles is typically the card that makes me say that. Like I'll tell people, like when this card shows up in terms of work, I always get the feel like this is the job that you hate and they hate you, but you go anywhere because you get a pay. You go anyway rather because you get a paycheck. Or this is the relationship that you really want out of and you're totally unhappy and miserable, but they split the bills with you. You got kids together, so you feel like you're stuck. Not the case. And this card speaks about that loudly and says like, do not let that happen to yourself. That keeps you like forever tied to the wrong job and not fulfilling your life purpose. Look before you leap. Before getting out, you may want to think about, yes, your paycheck. You may want to think about health insurance. You may want to think about other growth opportunities where you are and stuff like that before you just leave. But that doesn't mean that you're stuck there or that you have to stay there. It just means think about it and then do what's best for you. Okay. And love and relationships, the Page of Swords. So, it could be as simple as a matter of fact, let me pull the next card and see what the next card is. It is the Hermit. So, the Hermit represents your sign, the sign of Virgo. And the Page of Swords potentially represents the sign of Gemini. I'm picking Gemini specifically because Virgo and Gemini share a ruler, Mercury. The Mercury retrograde is around the same time as the full moon. I think one is the 28th and one is the 30th. I think the full moon is the 28th and Mercury retrograde is the 30th. Or they could be mixed up. This could be the 30th and this could be the 28th. In any case, by the end of the month, Mercury will be going retrograde. That could cause mild conflict, maybe, in a relationship, like senseless sort of debate or argument, unnecessary debate or argument. So just like, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, as they say, like know when to push back and know when to fall back, and back off and not like push an argument if there is somebody you're interested in, you're talking to, you're dealing with, whatever. You don't want to have an argument with that person. That would be how to avoid somebody saying something that you can't take back, because that could definitely be like saying something that cuts way too deep with that sword, and then once words are out there, you can't put them back in your mouth. This can be about you guys needing space. Allow your partner to have her space, and if you need space, that's important too. And this is crucial for happiness. If you're single completely, and unattached, then the Page of Swords shows up to tell us to get out and mingle. But again, looking at them both together, or even looking at the Hermit on its own. So I said earlier, when the Knight of Cups showed up, that the Knight of Cups for me can be about an ex returning. Well, the Hermit in love is almost always about rekindling a relationship from the past. Like almost always. So this page could be representative of communication in that regard. I'll pull one more. Oh, it's the King of Pentacles. This is your energy, and this is you feeling very happy and generous, and pleased. So maybe somebody from your past does return, and that is what you have been hoping for, and you will have an opportunity to offer them that pentacle that you were wanting to offer at the beginning of the reading. Look at, I think, the other cards now. And maybe with that potential connection or reconnection in mind. So again, here we're starting out with the Six of Pentacles, and this can be a card of generosity too, equity, equality, reciprocity in relationships. So mutual respect and adoration and love and attraction, all that kind of stuff. Commitment, gifts of money, time, or effort, new career opportunities, and receiving a loan or paying off debts. So this could be connected to work and finance for you as well. And it's about something happening like right on time. It's about divine assistance, you know, as if it fell out of the sky. Just when I needed it, this help came. Just when I needed it, I met you. Just when I needed it, you know, I got my stimulus check in the mail. You know, my rent, the landlord had just left my house telling me if I didn't have the rent by, you know, tonight, they were going to kick me out. And then boom, my stimulus check was in the mail. It's like that kind of right on time support from the universe. And as I mentioned before, also the moon was right behind it. Important psychic insights, events behind the scenes, release fears that hold you back. So that is to be taken literally. It can, you know, definitely be about letting go of fear and just moving where you feel the universe or God is telling you to move, or yourself, your gut, your own psyche is telling you to move, and what it's telling you to do, just following those inklings, those inclinations, those your intuition, regardless of being afraid of, you know, what it may mean, or where it may lead you, and, you know, just trusting in yourself and trusting in the universe and going for it. It is also potentially about, as I mentioned, timing and something happening for you, or the end of this month, and maybe into February, into mid to late February, around the 19th, when the sign of Pisces, the sun enters Pisces, being significant for you. Just wanted to give the cards a mix up, and look where we ended up at. Back with the Four of Pentacles. This is with what we started with this deck. Remember the guy that was holding on tight to the Pentacles? That was the Four of Pentacles. So here's another one. Being too frivolous or too cautious with money. Good business decisions and giving to those less fortunate. So it doesn't only have to do with being too frivolous or cautious with money. As I mentioned, for me, the Four of Pentacles is this card of holding on, you know, just tightly to something that is not conducive to your growth as a person, you know, spiritually, financially, in terms of your relationships and your partnerships. It is whatever you're clinging to is holding you back, and you need to release whatever it is, whether it's an old relationship or the ghost of an old relationship. Even if it's one that you expect to return to you, right? You have to let go of whatever old stuff you're holding on to from it and let it start anew, like that Ace of Pentacles. If it's a job, you know, we don't keep going just because we get a paycheck. You get a paycheck from every job. You don't have to stay at one that makes you miserable in order to get a paycheck. Leave and go to another one. You know, this means the same thing. Behind that, we have the King of Swords, which is potentially more Mercury energy. Again, Mercury entered shadow yesterday, actually, the 14th, and goes full on retrograde, as I keep saying, the 28th or the 30th, I don't know. But this King of Swords could be representing Mercury, or perhaps a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. He is brilliant, impartial, professional, and diplomatic. Speak your mind with confidence. Seek out professional advice and balance mental and emotional considerations. This is about saying what you mean and meaning what you say, and, you know, not being afraid to communicate and get a point across. And with the King and Queen showing up together, they did that recently in one of my readings too. And I said, oh, this is about you know, partnership and relationship for somebody who's watching. Maybe that person was you, or, you know, you are one among those people for whom it was. But we have the King and Queen here. So that is an indication about some sort of partnership, connection, right? When you have the man and the woman showing up together of a given suit. We have the Queen of Cups also behind them. So that this is the love and emotion. And then we have the Eight of Wands. So another 8, more karma potentially that we're experiencing, or that's trying to complete. And then the Eight of Wands is about movement, communication, universe working on our behalf behind the scenes. And then another Queen of Swords. So universe could be working on your behalf with regard to a Queen of Swords, which could be, again, somebody who is ruled by Mercury, whether that's another Virgo like yourself or a Gemini, could be tied to Mercury himself, even though it's the Queen, or potentially an actual Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. It could be guiding you to behave like the Queen of Swords, which is somebody who, yes, cuts away those things and lets go of those things that are holding her back, that are not serving her, that are keeping her from her life purpose. Queen of Swords also is an indication of our instincts and intuition serving us very well. So then pairing up with the Queen of Cups, definitely pay attention to any sign, synchronicity, guidance that you feel you receive, however you receive it, and follow it, as closely to the letter as possible. So if that inclination and guidance is telling you get out of that job and move on to this other job, then that's what you should do, and do so without fear. If it's saying let go of that, the strings you're holding to that old relationship, a new one's going to come, or that person's going to come back with fresh energy, then trust it. Don't be afraid to lose what you're holding on to, whatever that represents, like, some sort of like blanket that makes you feel better. Let go of that and let the new energy come. All right, so now I'm going to pull some cards for here. So crowning divine masculine energy is the Five of Wands. Occasionally, you may experience clashes with others. If you decide the matter is worth your energy, then do what you can to minimize the conflict without sacrificing your goals or beliefs. So the Five of Wands can be a card of conflict, often at work, conflict or competition at work. So it may be tied to this Eight of Cups. It can also, like on a more positive note, be about pursuing, something or someone about whom or which we are extremely passionate, the way that I pick it up. Or it can turn up representative of conflict with close friends and or family members as well. Then you have Major Arcana card 21, the World, which is also wands or fire energy for me. It feels like fire. Congratulations on successfully accomplishing what you've set out to do. You've made it through the challenges and incorporated the lessons that life offered you with grace and courage. This is about the universe easing you out of some sort of situation, circumstance, job, relationship, energy that you need to leave. Again, it's not helping you anymore, and they're going to put you in a place that is better for you at this time. And at the masculine subconscious is another Eight of Cups. So you have that Eight of Cups there in work and finance, and you got another one right here, and this can be tied to your work and finance too. A desire to move on, the search for something more meaningful and spiritual and emotional growth. I guess I should have moved these all together because I don't have enough room here. Let's see. Move the camera a bit. I don't want to knock it down. All right. Crowning the feminine, we have the Hierophant again. Embrace this time of deep spiritual growth. You may feel called to act as a mentor, to find a new teacher, or to spend time with others who are also on a sacred path. So you both are crowned by fives, which is interesting too. Fives are about change. This is actually this year, 2021, is a five. It has what they call a universal energy of five, and is about change, at large as well. The Hierophant, as I mentioned, can be about the need to make adjustments with the people, places, and things with which we surround ourselves. It is also about relationships, and it's in a very traditional sense, commitment, marriage and contracts and moving higher institutions. So spiritually based relationships as well. Surrounding the feminine, we have Major Arcana card 13, release or death. It's time to release the past and to move on to something new. This ending is the first step on the way to a happier future. So again, you guys in your surrounding energy have a similar energy. It's not the same card. You have the World and they have death, but both of these are about allowing something to end and leaving it in the past and moving on to a new phase. And the feminine subconscious, major arcana card 12, awakening, which represents the sign of Pisces. So again, maybe something happening around the time of Pisces, maybe involving awakening and spiritual growth. This is actually the Hangman, which can be about the need to let something go or someone go as well. Look at things in a different way and all will make sense. Don't worry if your progress is halted temporarily. Things will soon start moving again. Crowning. Major Arcana card 14. It is another 5. She's like 5, 5, 5 here at the top. Balance, which is actually temperance in the traditional tarot, represents the sign of Sagittarius, the planet Jupiter. The need for balance and moderation, cooperation and compromise. Wait for perfect timing. So again, we're waiting on that timing from the universe, from God. It's not our timing, but this is about potentially collaborations, negotiations, the mending of fences and relations between people, cooperation, negotiation, figuring out how we can work together, how we can look past our differences and move on. At the root or foundation, the Knight of Pentacles. So again, your energy, loyal, dedicated, honorable, and kind. Time to buckle down and get things done. Just like the cards that we had in this spread, right? The 4 of Cups in reverse. The 7 of Swords in reverse. Strength in reverse. It's time to get things done. Trying to move on. Honor your commitments. You have a guardian angel. The Knight of Pentacles is a Taurus, Virgo, a Capricorn, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. It is also about slow and steady progress. So maybe something taking it's a long time coming, a long time this is in the works. But the Knight of Pentacles, out of all 4 knights in the deck, is the only one that's known to always reach his goal. He always completes, what he set out to do. Like after making a plan and stuff. And at the heart of the matter, the 7, Major Arcana card 7. I was going to say the 7 of Chariot. Major Arcana card 7, the Chariot, which represents the sign of Cancer. It is a card of movement, moving. So it can be literal, metaphoric, travel, you going to visit somebody, them coming to visit you. You, again, moving house, moving job. Could be something having to do with a mode of transportation, getting a new car, all of those sorts of things. But it's a card of movement. So no longer like staying put. This is getting up and doing something like, the other cards guided you to do as well. This is also a major card of victory, the Chariot. So it's super positive. Like where there was competition, as I mentioned, is potential with the 5 of Wands. We have the Chariot crossing it. This is an indication of you being, the victor in any competition. If something had to be negotiated and worked out, you still come out on the positive end, the victorious end of those negotiations. Something goes well for you, works out as best as possible for you, specifically. And a couple of advice cards. We have another 5 of Wands is the next card. So here for the masculine again. So he's got these 2. Competing goals, bothersome details, conflict with others. And on the side of the feminine, the 6 of Cups. The love and care of children could become an important part of your life. Or people from your childhood or past may return to it. Old memories can be healed, like I was talking about here with these 5s, or possibly old childhood dreams or dreams from your past, things that you haven't brought to fruition yet, are ready to be revived and to happen for you now. I hope you've enjoyed your reading. I enjoyed doing it. Namaste.